Story time. Hello everybody, my name is Rebecca, and if you're subscribed to my channel, you will know that I have suffered from an eating disorder for over a decade. But for a while now, I am strongly and successfully in recovery. Hashtag Thrive Life. But in that decade that I had my eating disorder, boy do I have a story for you. Actually, I have many stories, but today, kids, we are going to be reading the story of the girl who spent 2 years in treatment. I've been so lucky to have been able to receive so much amazing professional support. I've been very fortunate to have been treated in various different treatment centers in North America, and oh my god, was I a little shit. I was a demon child. Opportunities were just being thrown at me one after the other, and I just didn't use them whatsoever. I took it for granted, and I was a shit. I'm gonna be specifically talking about my long journey at the Oliver Pyatt Center in Miami. OPC is one of the leading comprehensive residential but also step-down programs in the world. I was a patient client at OPC, and then I transitioned to their sister company, Montenegro, for 2 years. How did that happen? I still don't even know. I'm going to try to explain to you guys in this video. I was admitted to OPC when I was 18 in September of 2014. I live in Hong Kong, by the way. Miami, Hong Kong, it's a bit far away. At the time, I had been court-ordered by my parents, so even though I was 18 and an adult, I wasn't able to make decisions in terms of my health and all of that stuff. My life was already a bit of a shambles, I would say. I had it ingrained in my mind that I would only spend 6 weeks in residential treatment. I don't know why I suddenly thought I was the ruler of my life. I've been to different treatment centers before, but OPC, you are a bougie little thing. It was decked out. It was like Lily Pulitzer had rolled around the entire place. It was very intimate. There was a maximum of 12 girls at each time. I've been in places where there's been upwards of 60 people at one time, so this was a very different experience for me. There was always 3 recovery coaches that were at the center every single day. We slept at actual apartments that were not at the center, which is a little bit different to usually at residential. You sleep in one space, you do groups in one space, you eat in one space. Every client got assigned their own therapist, dietitian, a psychiatrist, and that's it. And we would meet with our therapist 4 times a week, and also some of the therapists would eat with us for meals and also run groups. Yeah, that's a vague rundown of what it's like. Back to me hating my life. So I solidified my position as the delinquent patient, or better, should I quote, no point in beating a dead horse patient. I landed myself on high observation at record speed because I was possessed by my eating disorder. That's the best word that I could use. High observation is for 24 hours of the day being watched over one-to-ones. I couldn't go to my bedroom, I couldn't hang out with the girls, I had to always follow around one of the recovery coaches. And honestly, that was very much called for. My eating disorder had completely compelled me to lie and cheat and hide food and break the rules at any moment that I could and exercise whenever I could. Even though I knew that there was a high risk of being caught, I would take that chance to use my eating disorder. I don't like how it sounds like it's an excuse that I'm saying I was compelled, like the eating disorder was doing that to me. I had no control, because ultimately I do have control over my actions, but really I felt powerless. I didn't feel in control, or at least I didn't want to be in control at the time. And it wasn't even this honest defiance. I smiled through it all. I participated in groups. I went to every meal. Much as I was breaking all of these rules, I hated confrontation. 2 months went by and I had not managed to gain any weight, and so the treatment team upped their game, and very quickly my meal plan just got bigger and bigger and bigger, which ultimately made me even more scared of stopping my rules and rituals. And I just remember it being Christmas Day, and because of everything that I had done, because of all the lying and the cheating and the hiding, I wasn't allowed to go out with my family. My family was so kind to travel all the way to Miami, but they had to spend Christmas in a room in a treatment center with me. Time was just ticking away, and I realized that I'm not gonna get out if I continue the way that I am. So I kind of changed my tactics a little bit. Now I did want to play the part of the perfect patient and show that I can just really do recovery well. I had this very, very noticeable bad compulsion where I had to stand up as much as I could. And I just remember being very close to one girl, and she really encouraged me to stop standing up. The funny thing is though, is that I lied down also to prove that I could lie down. That whole perfect patient thing. Whenever I lied down, I'd always look at the recovery coaches to see if they noticed that I was lying down so they could report it. But yeah, in those next couple of months, I really got my acting game on and I played the part of being in recovery. I really participated. And by Easter, when my parents came to visit again, I had gained all the weight that I needed to and I was at that healthy range. I remember that we would go on passes and I would prove that I could share food with everyone. So I'd have my big meal and then I'd purposely like take something from somebody else's just so that my mum would see that I'm taking food and I'm just eating extras and I'm just so free with my food and my life and it's so great. So manipulative, it was ridiculous. It had been 5 to 6 months already that I was ready to go home. Evidently my treatment team was much more clever than I was and they could see right through me and see that I was just acting. And only half of recovery is the weight restoration. The other half of recovery is actually engaging in recovery, changing your rules, changing your rituals, doing opposite action. And that was definitely not what I was doing. I was just playing the role. I know I stayed another few months in treatment because of that lying and deception. And that became a very huge focus and it ultimately started to make me feel like I was a really, really bad person. Every day I had to write honest lists. That was how much I was lying. I had to write down everything that I had lied about the day before or just things that I had done in the past. And I felt quite weird and isolated from the close group of friends that I had been able to make. And for the last few months of treatment, I was very low and sad and just very treatment fatigued. And my treatment team was just not convinced that I was ready to step down to a lower level of care. I bet they thought I was just this chronic case that was just never gonna get better. And it was very embarrassing because it was like a revolving door of girls just going in and out. A new girl would come in and then leave and I would still be there. But anyways, after 11.5 months, after much discussion, I was able to step down to a lower level of care. Then I spent a very long time in that level of care. Then I stepped back up to residential, then came back down to that level of care, and then I got sent to New York residential and then stepped down again. And that is a whole 2 years, but I'm not going to be talking about all of that. And it is quite difficult to talk about this story and revisit it, and also it did not cure me. I spent a little bit longer in my eating disorder before I really pushed myself into recovery. But what I can say, oh, I just sat on your head. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll know that I recently went to Miami with my boyfriend Tyler. I was asked by my former therapist to speak at OPC. I spoke at the PHP level and the IOP level. So yeah, like that delinquent, beat a dead horse patient is now a speaker at OPC. They actually use me as a know what's up recovered patient client. And I'm just so proud because I just never in a million years would I actually thought that I was gonna have an eating disorder for the rest of my life. I really did. And it was a really nice experience to go back and just see everyone and see the place and also acknowledge how far that I've come and how possible it is. So like I said, I didn't use treatment to my advantage, and if I did, I think that I would have stayed a much shorter period of time and I would have benefited from it so much. Yep, so that's the end of the story time. If you guys want to know a little bit more about the ins and outs of treatment, let me know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, give it a big thumbs up and write it in the comments. And I have horns. I really am a demon child.